The Old Village, Plymouth, was founded in 1825 by a man named George Starkweather was the name. Hence Starkweather Park, which is where I was just at. And I'm actually going to make my way over there again in a few minutes. But it's Sunday, and Sundays are usually quiet around here. Herman's Old Town Grill, which is right there, is usually really busy. So it's kind of quiet here today. That's part of the reason why the Old Village Association does their events on Sundays, because it's a little bit more quieter than it would be on a weekday or on a Saturday. Herman's is actually closed on Sundays. And actually, that's a place that I go to a lot with, or I used to go to. I don't really go to bars anymore. But me and my best friend Brett, who's like a brother, used to hang out here. And it's a nice bar. It's a nice place. So yeah, 1825 is when this Old Village was founded by a man named George Starkweather. And a lot of these buildings are the original buildings that have been here since the 1800s, which is really cool. So I'm going to make my way over to Starkweather Park and show you what that's like. And we'll continue on with this vlog that I'm filming. Old Village just opened up a general store, but I have my backpack on me, and although it's only filled with medical supplies and nothing, illegal, I still don't want to walk in. And also, it's really busy. There's a lot of people that have been walking in there. I heard it's really cool. So I'm going to come back here. I come to the Old Village at least once or twice a week because I really, really like it here. So I'll be back probably this week because today's Sunday. So I'll probably come back sometime midweek and maybe go in there and do a little filming. Or I'm going to contact the Old Village store or the general store and see if that's allowed, and maybe just do a actual proper vlog from the store. Obviously, asking them like history of everything and stuff like that. So yeah. Now there are more buildings here in the Old Village. This is just like the main stretch here, and this is where most of the events usually take place that I do my first aid stuff at. But there's buildings that go all the way down there, and then, little alleyways and things of that sort. So I'm about to take you on this little bike riding adventure here in the Old Village, Plymouth. So this is So this is a place called Starkweather Park. And it's this small little park here in the Old Village, Plymouth. Every December, they have this thing here up at the gazebo at Starkweather Park called Cookies and Hot Cocoa with Santa. So there's like this, person pretending to be, Santa, and he comes here and gets all dressed up, and they have like a throne for him that he sits on and everything. Last year was actually my very first year doing first aid at the Cookies with Santa event. And I get to do it again in December this year, which is going to be a lot of fun. But this whole place gets all decked out with like Christmas lights and decorations and really, really cool things. As you can see, there's actually lights. I don't know if they work, but there's lights right there on the tree that usually light up during the Christmas thing. So Starkweather Park, it's just small little place with a gazebo. Now I usually stop here when I come into the Old Village to charge up my bike a little because it's an e-bike. There's electrical like plugs that actually work, that you can plug your bike into and charge, or if you have a one wheel, you can charge your one wheel. And then I just come up here and I sit up here and just relax for a little bit while my bike is charging, and then I take off and leave. Taking Heinz, obviously, all the way back to West Lane where I live. So, there you go. Starkweather Park here in the Old Village, Plymouth. So I know that today's vlog really wasn't the kind of vlog that people expect out of me. I know that usually when I do a vlog, it's usually pretty interesting and, you know, there's at least something adventurous in it. Today was a little bit more stripped back and mellow. I wanted to go into the general store. So I was gonna go to the general store, which is in the Old Village today, and I wanted to shoot a video, but when I got there, there was a bunch of people there, and I don't feel comfortable whipping out my camera and filming when there's a bunch of people around still. We live in a generation or in an era where people are really eager to sue, if you will, and or they like to start conflict. And the last thing I want to do is walk in there recording a video. Number one, it's their property. It's not like I'm on public property when I go inside the store. So I don't know what their policy is on filming. That's the second thing. And a third thing is I carry this backpack with me everywhere I go because, you know, I have to be prepared in case something happens. So although this is all medical first aid supplies, and some businesses are uncomfortable with people bringing in backpacks for obvious reasons. You can conceal a lot of dangerous weapons in a backpack, so to speak. So I get why people are like that, but you get the picture. So for those three reasons, I did not go inside the store today. Now I am going to call the general store in Old Village, and I'm going to see if there is a way for me to set up a time where I can go and actually film inside the store, maybe get some behind the scenes footage, or maybe learn a little bit of the history behind what the general store was before it became what it is today, and go from there. I do have some connections in the Old Village. Jan and Peter and Trish, who are on the Old Village Association committee, and they're the ones that run all the events and everything that goes on in the Old Village. Every time that I'm in an area where there is a memorial, rather, for military or first responders, I like to stop and pay my respects. The last time I was here, I actually brought some tobacco with me, and I laid out some tobacco and said a little prayer, because this is the memorial for all the Wayne County, and Wayne County is a county here in Michigan, Wayne County first responders, so firefighters, paramedics, police officers, all of those who gave their lives for us, for the citizens that they swore to serve and protect. Now, some of you may know this, some of you may not know this. I hold a very, very special place in my heart for firefighters and paramedics and even law enforcement, and especially the military. 2022 or 2021, I made the decision that I wanted to go get my first aid certification. And I wanted, since I live at home, I wanted to make sure that I knew what to do if shit hit the fan, so to speak. If my mom, you know, had another heart attack or ended up having a stroke, how I can help her until more qualified help, like a paramedic or ambulance or advanced life support or whatever, until the pros take over, so to speak. And that's basically what I'm doing at these events too. But anyways, so my mom and dad were the ones that kind of inspired me. My mom especially inspired me to get into this whole first aid thing. But also my grandpa as well. My grandpa served in the Air Force. Me and my grandpa were extremely, extremely close. Every time I talk about him, I get really emotional. And I can feel the emotions starting to build up now, just even talking about him. It's been about 8 years since he passed away, and I still am having a really hard time coping with it and accepting it and understanding it. And I'll get into that maybe in another video, but not today. My grandpa not only served in the Air Force, but my grandpa liked to help people. My grandpa was a Sunday school teacher back in the 70s. And he taught Sunday school to kids who had special needs. It's just part of the reason why me and him had the bond that we had. Because my grandpa was the only one that could actually, talk with me. There was a time where my autism was a little bit more pronounced, and I struggled with it a lot more than I do now. And believe me, I still struggle with it, but it was a lot worse back when I was younger. And I didn't have the social skills that I have now, and I didn't have the ability to talk to people, really. I mean, I could talk, I was verbal, but you get the picture. Making a vlog like this or talking on camera like this is a big step for me, because I never would have done this back in the day. But anyways, my grandpa liked to help people. My grandpa prided himself on helping people. That made me really happy and full in my heart to know that he did that. To give something to somebody, to give a service to someone, especially somebody with special needs. That says a lot about the kind of man my grandpa was. But before I start crying on camera, because I already did once today, well, twice today, let me get back on topic with the whole first aid station. So, I made the decision. I found a place in Farmington Hills called CHASE. And CHASE stands for Comprehensive Health and Safety. And basically, they teach basic life support, first aid. They also teach instructor certification courses. So if I wanted to go get my instructor certification, which I am thinking about doing, by the way, I have not made my decision yet if I'm going to or not, but I'm definitely giving it a consideration. But anyways, so this place that was willing to kind of work with me and kind of do things at my own pace kind of a situation. So I signed up for the class, not thinking I was going to pass, thinking, oh, I'm going to fail. And I ended up passing and got my first aid CPR AED certification. So September 2022 comes around. I am at a powwow, which is a Native American thing, which, believe me, there will be a video on that come September when the powwow happens at Nankin Mills. But 2022, I was at a powwow, and I went as a spectator. So I didn't have my uniform at that time. I wasn't doing first aid stuff at the time. I was just strictly going as a spectator. And towards the end of the event, I was watching the dancing, one of the last groups of dancers that had gone out onto the arena floor, and or the circle or whatever. And there was a page that went over the radio, or that went over the loudspeaker, and it said medical assistance needed immediately in the elders tent, and the guy said it twice. So I immediately took off, because you have to understand I'm now certified at this time. This is before the basic life support. And so I took off and went to the elders tent and helped this woman who, I'm just going to say it was most likely a heart attack. It was apparently most likely a heart attack kind of a situation. Ambulance ended up coming, and she went by ambulance, ended up going by ambulance to the hospital. Well, after the ambulance left and I went back to my chair that I had taken with me, and I went to go sit and watch the rest of the dancing before the powwow ended, this guy had stopped me, a spectator, and he was like, "Hey, I seen you run over and I seen you help that lady. Would you be willing..." So the spectator goes, "Hey, I seen you over there, running over there to help that lady. You did a really good job. Say, have you ever considered maybe talking to them about having a first aid station here?" And at first I thought, well, it's a good idea, but it's probably the most impossible thing I can think of. I mean, why? Most first aid stations are ran by fire departments and stuff in this area. It's very rare that a lay person like me, who is not affiliated with an ambulance company or a hospital or a fire department or agency of that sort, to run a first aid station. I just never thought it was possible. Well, I waited about a month or two. I gave it some thought, and I talked to my brother about it, because we had gone to see The Killers right after that had happened. And I was telling him about everything, and I mentioned the first aid station. He said, "You should go for it, dude. Definitely go for it." So I contacted the American Indian Health and Human Services, or Family Services, and they directed me to the American Indian Association of Detroit, where I got in contact with this really cool, awesome dude named Travis. And by the way, Travis, if you're watching this, hope life is good for you, dude. But I talked to Travis. Travis thought it was a good idea. I sent him my certification cards, and he got in contact with his superiors, and next thing you know, I'm receiving a phone call saying, "Hey, we want you to do first aid." So the whole first aid station thing started out with just the powwow. So 2023, the next year, here I am doing the powwow. And that was my first year doing it. And I just thought it was just going to be that. I didn't think that it was going to go to the point to where it is now, or it wasn't going to grow to the point where it is now. Which it's been an amazing roller coaster of joy and excitement. So I did the first aid station. I did really well. Everyone said I did well. I had to help another person at that time who ended up going by ambulance too. And then Wayne County Parks, who also helped with the powwow at Nankin Mills, they started recruiting me to do events with them. So then I started doing events with them. And then what started out as one event then turned into 5 events. And then the next thing you know, I'm getting the 6th event, and the 7th event, and the 8th event, and the 9th event, and the 10th event. I have about 13 or 14 events that I get to do. Detroit Muscle is actually the 13th and 14th event. So I do about 13 events every year. The first one starting in February, last one ending in December. And, it's a really, really amazing thing to know just how far that I have come with that. Something that I thought was never going to be a realistic thing for me gets to be a realistic thing for me. And, I want people who watch this to think of one thing. If you're working on a goal, or you have a dream or ambitions that you want to work on, or that you have and you think is impossible or it's not going to be reachable, keep trying. Keep trying. Put one foot in front of the other and keep trying. Because the more that you do things, who knows what can happen for you. It started out as just one event, has now turned into about 12 or 13 events. Well, 13 or 14 events now. And let me tell you, doing these first aid stations have been amazing. Every time that I leave in an event, I feel much more confident and much more confident in myself. That's the word I'm going to stick with, confidence. So to all of those that gave their lives so others may live, Chi Miigwech, big thanks.